Hey, I'm Adam Thompson, consultant in strategy, organisational design and leadership. Today I want to introduce you to an idea called standards and devotion that you will find in the book by Frei and Anne Morris called Unleashed, which you need to read. Let's get right into it. So I came across this book recently and it gave me a way to describe something that I've always had in the back of my mind, but I could never quite make it as simple and clear as what Frei and Anne Morris were able to do. Here's their book, by the way, Unleashed. Get it and read it. So here's the idea. If we are talking about people that tend to stand out as the leaders that make a difference in other people's lives, we will find we end up with two things usually being in place. And those two things are standards and devotion. We can draw it in one of these standard looking diagrams like this. And as per usual, what we'll do is we'll put in high, low, and from there we can make these boxes. When we're saying standards, we are talking about the performance you're looking for from someone else. Devotion is the aspect where we're talking about devotion to the individual. How devoted are you to that person, to their success, for them being who they want to be? So that gives us four boxes where we can come in high, low, high. And what we've got from Frei and Morris is some names we can give them. So first, let's talk about a situation where we have high standards, but we have low devotion. That's when you come across as severe, getting stuck into people, not being fussed about what's really going on for them, just get it done.
Daryl, you are a I'll tell you why.
And let's talk about the opposite of that, where our devotion is very high, but we're not holding people to those sort of standards we're looking for. That's when we have fidelity. So fidelity might be a weird word. So the idea of fidelity is loyalty and faithfulness to the individual regardless of whether the standards are actually in place or not. And that's why that word's chosen for there. And it's a bit weird, so it kind of sticks in our mind. Severe, fidelity. Get the job done, I don't care about you. All I care about is you, I don't mind if you get the job done or not. Sometimes we get low and low gives us neglect. Now you might think that that's not something that you would commonly do, but think about times when you've known someone is on the outer. Do you avoid eye contacts? One of the things Frei and Morris points out. Do you not see them as much? Maybe they don't even get invited to things. That's a feeling of neglect. You're not fussed about the standards, you're not fussed about them. Pretty awful spot to be in for those people as well. Think about them as a human. Now let's talk high standards and devotion. What do we get there? The brilliant word that they use is justice. Justice is a situation where people are held to high standards and, not or, and the person holding to those standards is devoted to their well-being and to their success.
What's with the blanket? Who told you to get a blanket out? They had a blanket.
You're an idiot.
And the exercise that Frei and Morris get people to do is you ask people to think about a leader that they've had that's really made them be perhaps who they are today. And what you will consistently find is that that leader will be someone who held them to high standards and who had a lot of devotion to them. Now here's the trick. It's tempting to say, but I can't do that in these situations. What am I supposed to do? The idea is to actually have a go at thinking about it. How can I be just in this situation? It's not to decide it can't be done, but it's to actually spend the time to see if you can creatively come up with a way that cares for the person and holds the standard high. And one other thing that you want to be doing with this model is Frei and Morris recommend that you think about when do you show up in each of these categories? When are you very just in the way that you deal with people? Maybe it's in a relationship with your kids, maybe it's in a relationship with your peers. If you think about the way you sometimes act with your own manager, that might be a situation where you tend to go into fidelity. In other words, you might have certain standards you expect of your manager, but if they let you down, it's a bit of an anxiousness producing moment to have to say to your own manager, you're not holding the standards that I need from you. So we might tend to go into fidelity in those situations. And you might find yourself in your style of being a manager, you might land in fidelity. So let's bring this home. I've found it useful to consider, where are you likely to go? Both severity and fidelity have the advantage of safety. If you adopt a severe approach, you're effectively holding people at arm's length. You're saying, don't give me the complexity of your own situation. I don't want to consider that. I'm going to hold the relationship at arm's length so I don't feel so bad about holding you to that standard. I avoid the icky nature of actual human connection. When we go to fidelity, we're also avoiding the icky nature of human connection, but in the other direction, we're avoiding that part where you're going to disappoint someone or make them feel sad or disappointed or maybe even not like you so much anymore by actually not holding any standards at all. You're effectively saying, instead of keep me away for severity, you're effectively saying, I'm going to keep you close. Don't worry, I'll keep the mean standards away from you. If you're in a leadership role, it's about how do we help our fellow humans, and the way we help our fellow adult humans is through looking to move to the path of justice whenever we can.
Be excellent to each other.
Really powerful model from Frei and Anne Morris. Read their book Unleashed, you'll get a lot from it. I'll see you next time. When do you show up? Look at that.